Hello and welcome to Game Conclave. We've got a recap for you of the games we covered this month, as well as some that shadow dropped. Give us a like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments if you already picked up any of these games or which ones you plan to snag. Thanks for watching.
The Sims 1 and 2 have returned to digital storefronts for PC. The Sims 1 is so old. It actually never even got a digital release. And the second one was only available through EA's own storefront till around 2014 when they removed it. So these games have not been available for quite some time. But they are now back on Steam, Epic, and the EA app. So yeah, if you needed to drown your Sims in the pool or what other various torture methods, or you actually want to just play the game the proper way and watch these people's lives unfold, you can do so on those three platforms. There's no official word on any console versions yet, but I wouldn't be surprised at a later date to hear about them maybe later in the year as they take some time to make them more console friendly. And in another return, Dino Crisis 1 and 2 have finally returned. It has been over 20 years since these games have been readily available. They were originally released on the PlayStation 1, and they were available digitally on the PlayStation 3. They might still be on the PlayStation 3 store. I'm not sure. It's so hard to remember what is and isn't available on there anymore, but they were at one point in time. I know I've got them on my PlayStation 3, so yeah, they were part of that PS1 Classics library. But they're going to be on PC now. They're going to be available via Good Old Games or GOG or GOG, whatever you or they are calling themselves these days. GOG is CDPR's answer to Steam. It's a platform where they make all sorts of games available and even preserve older titles by keeping them updated to work on modern PCs. It's a great site. They do a lot of really good stuff. I love Good Old Games. So if you were dying for some Dino Crisis, GOG's got them available now. Bar Tycoon is a tycoon management simulator game, except instead of your normal boring cafes, bars, and restaurants, you're going to be running a bar owned by vampires. And they use the bar or restaurant, whatever it is you develop, to prey on humans. So you got to create the best restaurant and cafe and diner you can, and lure in those stupid humans to be little more than cattle. For all your real clientele, the vampires of Crimson City, who just apparently hang out in back alleys and the shady back rooms. So yeah, anyway. As you do in Tycoon games, you will manage resources, and in addition, you'll have to prevent the vampire hunters from discovering your little operation, because they'll try to burn down your establishment. It looks goofy as hell. It looks fun. We dig goofy games like this. So if you're looking for a new management sim, check this one out. It's made by the Clever Trickster Studios, and it's launching on February 4th, exclusively on PC.
Do not disappoint me.
Kingdom Come Deliverance II from Warhorse Studios has already dropped back on the 4th of the month. Just like in the first game, skills in combat have a bit of a learning curve, but combat has seen some improvements over the jankiness of the first game. It's definitely a little bit more approachable this go-round. Henry is back after the events of the first game, which are actually nicely summarized for you if you haven't experienced it yourself. You'll be in medieval Bohemia, as it's undergoing a bloody civil war. You are the son of a blacksmith, though you will play a pivotal role as the story unfolds. This is the kind of game I want to see more of from developers, not genre-wise specifically, but no one tried to reinvent the wheel here with this game. They just took the freedom, fun, and immersion that the first one was known for, and they refined upon it. They made it bigger and better in every way. And I feel like too often people get caught up in this like innovation cycle. Everything's got to be new. Everything's got to be shiny. Everything's got to be different. Sometimes I just want to see developers take what they already do so well and make it better. And that's exactly what happened here. So congratulations to Warhorse Studios. They've already sold 1 million copies. And that's because there's tons of well-written quests, a fantastic story, great graphics, and a ridiculously dense and fun gameplay experience. New skills and perks have been added. Some of the less useful ones from the first one have been purged or reworked. There are some quests and graphical bugs here and there, as one would expect in a game that's launched with this much complexity. Warhorse is going to get them patched up pretty soon, though, so I'm not worried about that. If you're looking for something to scratch that Skyrim and Witcher 3, or hell, even a bit of a Baldur's Gate 3 itch in terms of, depth of options, obviously very different combat here, but yeah, nothing's quite done it for you. You should really take a look at Kingdom Come Deliverance. This is a great series, and it's its own beast, but there's a lot of elements here that will really remind you of those games. It is already available on the PS5, Xbox Series S and X, and PC.
This lot.
Watch out, here we go.
Rogue Waters is a pirate-themed tactical turn-based roguelite RPG developed by Ice Code Games, who also created the Hard West series. And this is one of 3 pirate games that's launched in the last month. But yeah, pirates are back, and hell yeah. So you'll be playing as Captain Cutter, who commands a crew of sea dogs through procedurally generated encounters as you sail the high seas in a tale of revenge across 3 acts. Though truth be told, the plot is fairly silly. But that's okay. We love silly games. You can upgrade your ship and crew as it's a roguelite. Every run will be different, though. As you work towards your goal of killing the immortal Captain Blackbone, you can recruit 6 different classes and upgrade their skills. Any damage your crew takes will persist across runs and require you to swap out crew members to take time to heal. Bit of a combination of Slay the Spire meets tactical turn-based XCOM elements here with positioning and stuff like that. So yeah, really cool. And like I said, the unit combat plays out in a tactical turn-based form. This one's already available as of February 4th for PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series S and X. World of Outlaws Dirt Racing 24 Gold Edition is a dirt racing simulation game made by Monster Games, who've been making racing games since the late 90s, so probably in good hands. They've even made several of the NASCAR games. This is the latest update to the World of Outlaws series. It'll feature 51 tracks, including several fan favorites, a career mode, challenge modes, and tons of different combinations of car tracks as you work your way through the game. It is already available on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X, but it was finally coming out on PC on February 5th, so if you're looking for a new racing game or just really into dirt racing, make sure you check this one out. Ambulance Life Paramedic Simulator is a paramedic simulation game coming out, made by Aesir Interactive. They have made some of those police simulator games and some horse simulators. And yeah, this is their latest simulation game. You will obviously be playing as a paramedic. And yeah, you'll respond to emergency calls, assess patients, transport them to the hospital after applying triage and or first aid. I'm not sure if this is going to be one of those games that's going to blow up and be all a meme game, and be viral for all the wrong reasons, just YouTube videos of people killing their patients and stuff. But yeah, I wouldn't be shocked, especially after there was that big VR surgeon simulator some years back, and everyone just tortured and killed their poor patients. But yeah, this might be one of those. I don't know. But yeah, it looks goofy. Apparently your patients can have up to 36 different conditions you'll have to identify and assess what's wrong, figure out what to do about that. You'll have 17 different medical instruments at your disposal to attempt to assist them. And yeah, I don't know. This could be a potentially hilarious game. I don't know if it's... yeah, maybe it will be. I don't know. We'll see. It's launching on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and X, and PC on February 6th. Big Helmet Heroes is a 3D beat-em-up game where you play as silly little knights with big old helmets. Yeah. It's being developed by Exalted Studios from France. You'll travel across several different fantastical realms, pick between 29 different heroes across 4 classes, warriors, brutes, rogues, and monks. Each will have their own unique powers as you beat up pirates, mummies, and unicorns. Playing either single player or split screen local co-op reminds me a ton of Castle Crashers, and that's a damn good game. So I think for sure me and my wife are going to be picking this one up. If you're looking for a fun little beat 'em up to play by yourself or with your significant other, friends, or your kiddos, take a look at this one. It'll be hitting the PS5, Xbox Series S and X, Switch, and PC on February 6th. Icy Red is a procedurally generated twin-stick shooter roguelike, where you'll be hunting down your enemies and destroying them in a quest for revenge. The game is developed by Whiteboard Games from Argentina, and the game will tout tons of passive skills that will make every playthrough unique. In addition to destroying your enemies with guns, you also have the option to use a grappling hook, which is awesome. I really dig the aesthetics on this one. There's just something always about grayscale visuals, with splashes of red or some other really vibrant color that it just pops. It's always gorgeous to look at, kind of like Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. Obviously a very different genre, but aesthetically it's just so pleasing to look at. So yeah, I always love these art styles. But if you're looking for a new good twin-stick shooter, check this one out. It'll be hitting the Switch on February 6th, and it's already available on PC. Moons of Darsalon is a retro action platformer. We'll be saving lost astronauts, or Darsonauts, in rescue missions. It's made by Dr. Kucho Games, and it reminds me of like Lemmings meets Worms with a dash of the old Choplifter games, which I don't know, that's kind of an awesome description though. I never knew that was a mashup of 80s and 90s games I wanted to see, but apparently I did. So yeah, you'll be fighting and finding your lost astronaut friends, helping to rescue them. You can also alter the terrain with your laser gun, and fly around with a jetpack. So this looks like it may be a really cool game. Came out on PC back in 2023. It has a very positive ratings on Steam. So if you're looking for something to scratch an old like Earthworm Jim or Lemmings itch, this one will be hitting the Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and Switch on February 6th. Rift of the Necrodancer is the sequel to the rhythm roguelike Crypt of the Necrodancer, where you will be dancing like you have never danced before. Because it's with dead people. Anyway, Cadence is dragged into a new world. She must slay bosses and monsters in epic rhythmic combat. And the game will feature 30 new tracks, 4 difficulty levels, the ability for you to create your own custom maps, even with your own music. There's also a remix mode for challenges. In addition to all that, you'll be the story's about trying to rescue your friends. And when you're not engaging in rhythmic combat, you'll also have several mini games to indulge in. When you can help your friends with part-time jobs or engage in boppin' yoga classes. So yeah. If you're looking for a new rhythm game or just really miss Guitar Hero and wanted it to be goofy and zany, this one's coming out for you. It's hitting PC exclusively on February 5th, but I have heard the developers are looking to hopefully get it on consoles, so keep an eye out for that in the future. Slender Threads is a paranormal horror point-and-click adventure game created by Blitz, who've made several point-and-click puzzle games in the past. In Slender Threads, you'll be playing as a traveling salesman attempting to stop a string of horrific murders in a quaint little seaside town, because unfortunately, for some reason, his nightmares have been foretelling the future. And they're looking pretty grim. So you'll wander around, exploring the town of Via Ventana, interact with citizens, and solve puzzles. The world is brought to life by a combination of hand-drawn 2D art and 3D visuals to create a diorama. This one is only coming out on PC on February 7th. Sid Meier's Civilization VII is a very long-running 4X turn-based grand strategy series, and an absolutely great one. It's developed by Firaxis, who, in addition to making the Civilization games, made the XCOM reboots many years ago, and also made Marvel's Midnight Suns. Now, if you're not familiar with Civilization, what you do is you select a leader of your empire, and different leaders will have different bonuses that will shape the growth of your empire. And actually, for the first time in the series' history, your leader and your civilization do not have to be from the same culture. So if you want to pick Ben Franklin to lead the Aztecs, or whatever, you can. So yeah, you'll mix and match various different leader and cultural bonuses, and construct cities, perform technological and economic research, build cultural monuments, and lead your people to victory as the dominant culture on the planet. Domination can be achieved a variety of different ways here. Obviously, through military might, you can, overwhelm your foes, or you can create the most vibrant culture, which can often encourage other civilizations to defect and join your way of life, or you can just beat everyone on technology. Research all the biggest scientific breakthroughs and put their tech to shame. So, crossplay between PCs and consoles will be supported. So whenever you're done building your empire in single player, you got a ton of options online between downloadable challenge maps, facing off against other players, teaming up with a buddy. The series has been around for 30 years now. It has completely stood the test of time as just one of the best turn-based grand strategy games out there. This one is going to be launching on Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series S, and X, and PC on February 11th. Metal Suits Counterattack is a side-scrolling run-and-gun action platformer made by Egg Tart Incorporated. You'll be playing as Kevin, an elderly, sick, retired veteran and war hero who's living peacefully on the nursing home spaceship with his beloved dog Andy. But unfortunately, for both Andy and Kevin, they lose everything. That's right, their nursing home ship is destroyed when it's invaded by alien forces. So not only does Kevin lose Andy, he loses most of his body as well, until he's reborn as a cyborg, ready to take revenge. This sounds really silly and fun, and we love silly and fun. So, you'll defeat alien invaders using a variety of combat suits across 9 different planets. So if you're looking for a goofy game to scratch that Mega Man or Contra itch, on February 13th, check out this one. It's going to be dropping on the PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC. Undying is a story-heavy zombie survival game with some RPG and roguelite elements. It is made by Vanimals, and the fun twist here is that your character, Ling, is actually infected with the contagion that's turning people into zombies. She's slowly decaying away, and she must teach her son how to survive within the zombie apocalypse. So you'll make decisions based on prioritizing teaching him how to survive. Every decision you make, every person you encounter is an unknown, a variable. Should you trust this person, when your life and your son's life is in peril, or should you be more wary of them, perhaps confrontational? How will you shape the unfolding story? The game features 14 major locations that will be semi-randomized. Every time you start a new playthrough, you'll teach your son Cody skills for cooking, crafting, and combat. You'll scrounge up resources as you manage your thirst and hunger. All your actions will impact your son as he levels and learns skills to not only assist you, but also with the goal of becoming independent. This game looks really awesome. It's probably one of those games that's just going to rip your heart out and have you bawling by the time this ride ends. So if you're looking for something to give you the same vibes, as something like the Telltale Walking Dead series game, or just a fan of survival games, this one's gonna be hitting the Switch, Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X, PS4, and PS5 on February 11th, and it is already available on PC. Urban Myth Dissolution Center is a cult mystery adventure game with visual novel elements made by Hakababunko, where you'll be solving mysteries surrounding cursed relics, monstrous oddities, and dimensional anomalies. As Azami Fukurai, who has the ability to see another person's thoughts and intentions through her glasses. The game will play out in an episodic manner with this really gorgeous pixel art, and you'll search for clues and review evidence, and every urban legend you solve will help you unravel this mystery, leading to all sorts of unexpected consequences and perhaps some hidden truths. So if you're looking for a new mystery game or a fan of things like Danganronpa or Ace Attorney or the Somnium Files, you might give this one a look when it drops on February 12th for the Switch, PS5, and PC. Dawnfolk is a charming and minimalist survival city building game where you'll gather resources and rebuild your realm while protecting your people from the shadows. This is made by Darren Keller, a one-man indie studio. Darren previously worked at Ubisoft on Ghost Recon and the Assassin's Creed series, and then quit Ubisoft to start his passion project. And we had no choice. We have to include this game in our weekly release list because we always want to support small developers, especially people who quit advantageous situations and take risks like this to pursue something that means so much to them. That's one of the best parts about gaming. When people make their passion projects, it's always something special. So if you're looking for a cute little city builder or just want to support an indie chasing their dreams, make sure you check this one out when it drops on PC and Switch on February 13th. Now, if you've ever played an RPG, there's a really good chance you've beaten the crap out of a bunch of slime monsters. Hell, if you've played any Dragon Quest game, you've probably beaten the crap out of thousands of slime monsters. But this little indie Souls-like is saying, hey, what have the slimes got to save the day? That's right, in Slime Heroes, you will get to explore a whimsical, silly little open world where the slimes finally get to save the day. You have 6 different regions to explore in solo or co-op. It has a really cool system where you get to merge and combine skills to create unique attacks that best suit your playstyle. Always really cool. I love those kinds of elements. You'll fight a bunch of ferocious enemies and level up and find yourself flashy attire for your slimes to fortify their stats. It's just a cute looking little Souls-like RPG, probably a great one to play with the kids or a significant other or just a buddy. It'll be dropping on February 13th for PC, Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X, PS4, PS5, and the Switch. Shujinkou is a interesting and probably pretty unique RPG, in that not only is it aiming to be a turn-based Shin Megami Tensei-like dungeon crawler, it's also going to be trying to teach you Japanese. Now, obviously the market for this is pretty niche, but we thought it was kind of cool to see something like this in development coming out. It's going to be a story-based RPG where Akuma, or demons, are eating up the language, and you'll need to put an end to their ambitions. In turn-based combat, and you'll engage in word-based mini games, such as a variant on billiards and slapping fish to learn phrases. So if you ever wanted to save the world and learn hiragana, katakana, and kanji while playing a game, this might be for you. It's always fun to see something just really unique and interesting in gaming, and it's like a lot of the old educational games, but it's cool. The developers did point out that the language learning is optional, so if you're just looking for a game, you just want to relax and play a game and not worry about learning a foreign language, you definitely have that option too. This will be coming out on PC, Switch, PS4, and PS5 on February 12th. Snezhinka is made by Hinyari 9 and is the sequel to Marfusha. Snezhinka is a side-scrolling twin-stick shooter where cutesy little girls with big-ass guns working for a PMC will defend against waves of hostile mechs. The meager salary you get paid will be utilized to purchase cards and various other upgrades to refine your combat capabilities. Snezhinka, the titular character, will be searching for her missing older sister, who was an elite member of the Molten Iron Squadron. She has, however, gone missing, and only by going to the front lines of the war will you be able to find out why. Snezhinka released late last year on PC to very positive reviews, and is finally coming to the Xbox Series S and X, PS5, and Switch on February 15th. Alright, and this one actually shadow dropped at the State of Play. It is Warriors Abyss, a roguelike Muso game, which I don't think anyone saw this coming. Like I said, it shadow dropped today, in addition to being announced at the State of Play. If you ever want to team up with Lubu and various other Muso characters in a hack-and-slash roguelike against hordes of enemies, now's your chance. You can pick it up on the Xbox Series S and X, PS4, PS5, and PC. Afterlove EP comes from Pixelnesia, the creators of Coffee Talk and What Comes After. Afterlove EP is a slice-of-life adventure game set in modern-day Jakarta, and you'll be playing as a young man and musician named Rama, who's struggling to move on with his life after the death of his girlfriend. The game will feature a blend of visual novel, narrative adventure, and rhythm game elements. The story will see Rama's bandmates and friends all attempting to help him move on, but Rama is trapped in his grief. It's causing him to neglect his music his mental health, and his relationships. And to top it all off, he's starting to have visions of his deceased girlfriend. You'll have 28 days and nights to help Rama get his life together in time for his band's critical gig. And decisions you make throughout the course of the story will affect the outcome of the game. A really interesting and unique aspect of this particular game, though, is the narrative designer and writer and developer Mohamed Fahmy passed away in 2022. And the rest of the team of the studio decided to finish this project and complete the final game he wrote on his behalf. So, in more ways than one, this is probably going to be a game filled to the brim with heart and soul. From the young 32-year-old man who never got to finish it, and the team that he left behind saying their final farewell. Afterlove EP will release on the Xbox Series S and X, PS5, Switch, and PC on February 14th. The Legend of Heroes Trails Through Daybreak II is a turn-based hybrid action RPG series developed by Nihon Falcon. They are the pioneers of action RPGs and the creators of the Ys series, which is a very, very long-running series. But Trails is part of their Legend of Heroes sub-series, which was originally their turn-based series, but has now incorporated some action elements, so yeah. The Trails games, this is actually the 12th entry, mainline entry in the series. There are several spin-offs. This one picks up after the events of the first Trails Through Daybreak. You'll be returning to the Calvard Republic as a shocking series of murders has set wheels in motion. We'll be trying to figure out who's behind these grisly murders in this action RPG turn-based hybrid. It'll feature a parry system that empowers your attacks, and a combo system called Chain Skill, that allows your party members to launch simultaneous attacks. All the Trails games are sort of part of this overarching continuous narrative, but then each little mini arc is its own standalone, entry. So yeah, it's like the MCU of JRPGs. So for those of you who are already deeply invested, this one's coming out on February 14th. If you're looking to get into this series, and this is where you want to start, I'd at least probably go back to Trails Through Daybreak 1. If you're looking to finally get sucked into all of this grand series, the first game, Trails in the Sky, is actually getting a remake later this year. We don't have exactly all the details yet on platforms and release date. As soon as we know more, though, we'll be sure to let you know. It's a highly regarded series for great characterization and wild plot twists and really hard-hitting, political narratives. So it's a really good series. For those of you looking to pick this one up, though, Trails Through Daybreak 2, it'll be hitting the PS4, PS5, Switch, and PC on February 14th. Alright, Tomb Raider 4, 5, and 6 Remastered, which is actually Tomb Raider The Last Revelation, Tomb Raider Chronicles, and Tomb Raider The Angel of Darkness Remastered, is the follow-up to last year's Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3 Remastered. Lara Croft, an icon of gaming, is back. One of the original heroines of gaming. Not the original. Don't get mad, Samus fans. But one of the first really big mainstream heroines. So in addition to a photo mode being added in for all these games, updated textures, multiple control schemes, the Angel of Darkness specifically has had some of its cut content restored. This game had a very mixed reception back when it came out, and they've actually restored some of the elements that were removed from the game. So there's going to be extra voice lines for this one. Areas that were cut from the original release have been added back. It'll be really interesting to see if this changes the reputation Angel of Darkness kind of has in the fan base and with reviewers. So yeah, if you're not familiar with Tomb Raider, though, Lara Croft, as I stated, one of the first big mainstream heroines. Uncharted is dude Lara Croft, basically, dude Tomb Raider. But yeah, if you're looking for a game with some fun gunplay, great action, awesome platforming sequences, little supernatural elements, this is a series you should be looking at. Just keep in mind, these are remastered games. Some of these are PlayStation 2 games. I think all of them in this one at least are PlayStation 2. The other one had some PlayStation 1 games, but yeah, these games are over 20 years old. They're not going to have all the bells and whistles you might be accustomed to. It can be super fun, though, to go back and see where gaming was at a long time ago in terms of, you know, graphics, because some people are going to think this looks ugly, and well, these look way better than they originally did. But yeah, whenever these old collections come out, I always pick them all up because I just love to see you know, how things actually looked versus how they look in your head, you know, when you remember them. But yeah, it's always cool to see how far gaming's come. This one will be hitting the Switch, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X, and PC on February 14th. Immortal Hunters came out last year in early access in September and will be finally leaving early access. It's a side-scrolling beat-em-up action RPG set in a dark fantasy world where God is dead, and he was killed by the Church, who then used his powers to conquer the world. But the world is now finding itself facing an imminent apocalypse, and your goal is to expose the lies of the Cardinals, find the reborn God, and bring salvation before the world is destroyed. And to do that, you'll choose from 4 unique characters and utilize their unique skills and abilities as you run around beating the hell out of all sorts of demons and terrible monsters. It's got this really cool art style I dig. I always love aesthetics like this, and that story premise sounds kind of interesting. So yeah, the game's going to be seeing a full release on February 17th, exclusively on the PC. Machinicide is a boomer shooter developed by Gravity Shenanigans that will combine immersive sim and bullet hell elements in a futuristic setting. You use gravity, telekinesis, and some BFGs to obliterate robotic enemies in this indie first-person shooter. If you run out of ammo, you don't need to worry about it. Apparently, just gonna chuck your gun at the nearest enemy and then grab theirs to keep dealing out damage. So yeah, I love me a good boomer shooter on occasion. This one looks like it could be pretty cool. And I believe it's made by a one-man indie studio, which just, you know, that always makes me want to support them. So yeah, if boomer shooters are your thing, give this one a gander when it drops on PC on February 17th. Alright, we have got Avowed. This is coming to us from Obsidian Entertainment, the studio who brought us Fallout New Vegas, Tyranny, Alpha Protocol, Pillars of Eternity 1 and Pillars of Eternity 2, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, The Sith Lords, and Pentiment was their latest game. And yeah, they've made a crap ton of notable titles, huh? Avowed is set in the Living Lands, part of Aora, as Avowed is a prequel to the Pillars of Eternity games. You'll be playing as the envoy who is sent by the Empire to ascertain the nature of a mysterious plague known as the Dream Scourge, which is sweeping the Living Lands. You'll have the option to play the game in first or third person perspectives. Early reviews are looking pretty strong. It doesn't look like it's going to be like an instant classic in the genre like Fallout New Vegas or Pillars of Eternity, but you know, people are saying that they found this to be a pretty big step up from the Outer Worlds. So yeah, that's exciting. It's not going to be a sprawling and vast open world like Skyrim was or Fallout, but it's going to be a smaller zoned experience akin to what we saw in the Outer Worlds or something like Divinity Original Sin 2, which is totally fine with me. I often prefer that approach personally, so yeah. You'll be able to choose between spellcasting, melee, guns, stealth, or mix and match a little whatever pleases you. The game doesn't have a crafting system, but does have a system in place to upgrade and enchant your gear. So if you're looking for a good new Western RPG, check this one out. It's going to be fully launched on February 18th for the Xbox Series S and X and PC, and there's no word yet on whether or not this one is going to jump ship to the PS5 in light of Microsoft's new multi-platform approach. If it does, we'll be sure to let you know. Next up, we've got Lost Records Bloom and Rage Tape 1, coming to us from Don't Nod, the developers behind Life is Strange 1 and 2, Vampire, and Banishers Ghosts of New Eden. They have lost access due to various licensing junk to the Life is Strange series, so Lost Records is pretty much going to be their spiritual successor to that series. They stated this is just the beginning in the world of Lost Records. There's much more to come, but Lost Records Bloom and Rage is a narrative adventure title set in 2 different time periods. Firstly in Michigan during the summer of '95. And these 4 young gals, who are all aspiring musicians, will document their summer together, creating the memories of a lifetime. The game will also take place in 2022, and as the story unfolds, you'll find out that 27 years ago, the 4 gals parted ways and promised to never speak to one another after mysterious events that transpired that fateful summer. You'll play as Swan, and one of your former friends has reached out to you to tell you about a mysterious package that was left on her mother's porch that's addressed to your former band. You'll interact with your friends and the townsfolk you encounter, engage in puzzle solving and some point-and-click gameplay as you influence the events in both timelines. The second part will be coming as a free update in April, but this first part is launching on February 18th for the Xbox Series S and X, PS5, and PC.
Last week, my mom found a package on her doorstep.
Cabernet is a 2D narrative-driven RPG where you play as Eliza, a fledgling vampire living in an Eastern Europe-inspired world. The game is made by the developer Party for Introverts. You'll explore this world and story filled with corruption and political intrigue. Will you have Eliza give in to her dark new urges, or will you remain steadfast and retain your humanity? You'll be able to utilize a variety of vampiric powers, such as invisibility and transformations, as you mingle amongst your brethren and their human livestock. Equipment can influence Liza's stats on music and arts, literature and writing, science and logic, as well as history and politics. And her stats and knowledge in these fields will allow her to advance conversations in the manner you choose. So if you're hankering for a little vampire story, or always just a sucker for these kind of storylines with moral dilemmas, you might want to check this one out when it drops on the Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X, PS4, PS5, Switch, and PC on February 20th.
Demons are hereditary.
Stories from Soul, the Gundog is a retro-style pixel art visual novel coming to us from Space Colony Studios. And in this world, the last major war transpired 4 years ago, and your characters have been assigned to a patrol ship, the Gundog, whose crew has been tasked with investigating a mysterious signal coming from the edge of their territory in space. You'll be playing as the ship's security officer who must root out a conspiracy that is threatening the ship. With point-and-click style gameplay, you'll investigate incidents and delve into a looming threat that has the crew turning paranoid. This looks like it could be a seriously cool title. If you're a fan of sci-fi and mecha-style stories, particularly those with very 80s and 90s aesthetics, the game's giving me strong Macross and Gundam vibes, and those are great vibes. So, but yeah, it'll be releasing on PS4, PS5, Switch, and PC on February 20th. Alright, next up we got the King of Fighters 13 Global Match. This is one of my favorite fighting series of all time, and this is one of the best entries in the series. To me, anyway, it's finally coming to Steam. It's actually originally released back in 2010. And still to this day has some of the most beautifully animated 2D character models I've ever seen. The game's going to feature rollback netcode, 36 playable characters, including all the DLC characters from the original release. It's going to have a story mode, arcade mode, practice modes, challenges, a tutorial, various online versus modes, and yeah, the game was already released on Switch and PS4 back in 2023, but this Steam version is going to be hitting PC on February 20th. So if you're looking for a new and great 2D fighter, or check this one out. Die in the Dungeon is a deck-building, turn-based roguelike built around using dice rather than cards. So you boost your deck of dice, I guess. But yeah, you'll boost your deck of dice with magical relics as you that you acquire from defeating monsters. These relics will empower your dice and allow you to create new bizarre combinations of dice for all sorts of zany effects. It looks like there's 3 different characters to choose from in this little indie title coming from Atiko. It reminds me a lot of Slay the Spire from what I've seen of it, and that's a fantastic game to have commonalities with, in my opinion. So yeah, it'll be here in early access on February 21st on PC. Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii is Ryu Gagatoku Studios' newest action RPG and ex-Yakuza Goro Majima's first solo title. Majima has lost his memories since he's the protagonist of an RPG, and like anyone would do as an amnesiac in paradise, he sets off for the horizon in search of legendary treasures to plunder. Just like we all dream of doing, Majima. Just like we all dream of. This will of course get him mixed up in all sorts of various over-the-top, wacky, and violent misadventures, encountering criminals and pirate gangs. As it's a Yakuza or a Like a Dragon title, it's going to be filled to the brim with their signature zaniness and off-kilter humor. You'll have access to an absurd plethora of mini-games and side missions that will provide you just an insane amount of content to engage with. When you're not making deliveries in your silly little shorts or showing off your pipes in the karaoke bar, you'll be beating the crap out of pesky punks in town, or in the new addition to the series, you can take to the high seas in ship-to-ship combat that looks very reminiscent of Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag's sailing and combat, which is awesome. So when you're slapping silly some scurvy sea dogs, you get the option to swap out between Majima's two combat styles, the Mad Dog style, which is focused on speed, flair, and stunning, and the Sea Dog style, which is about dual-wielding cutlasses. You can aerial juggle, combo, and take down your foes however you please as you swap between these two styles. As a plucky new pirate captain, you'll be keeping exactly one eye out for promising new privateers to participate in the pillaging and plundering. If you've never given the Like a Dragon series a shot, this is probably a perfectly fine entry point, as Majima is a prominent character in the series, but this is his first standalone game, and he's got no memories, so yeah. It's a highly regarded series, and this is probably going to be one of its weirdest and most exciting entries yet, so... the game is set in sail for the horizon on the Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X, PS4, PS5, and PC on February 21st. RPG Maker with, or W-I-T-H, I don't know how the hell to say it. I'm just going to say with, that's easier. It's the latest entry in the long-running RPG Maker series. So if you're not familiar with this series, it serves as both a game, as there's often a new pre-made RPG to play with your purchase, and then it's also like a mini development engine that allows you to make little RPGs yourself. Now, obviously, you're going to be really limited by the engine provided with the game, but it's just meant to be a small little tool for people that don't have any programming skills or experience themselves to make little RPGs for themselves or that they can share with others. The Nintendo Switch version launched last year in October. Now it's finally coming to the PS4 and PS5. Yeah, the PC versions of these often have many more options and tools. This one's a console-specific version, so it's probably going to be a bit more streamlined. Since it's just a console-specific one, no PC release for this particular version of the title. But these can be fun to mess around with. I picked up a few on occasion and just kind of played around with them. If this is something that interests you, it'll be hitting the PS4 and PS5 on February 21st. Konami is finally bringing Ninja 5 back to modern consoles. This is a remaster of a Game Boy Advance title from 2003. You play as Joe Usugi, a ninja and a cop, which is a very important distinction because that means he operates within the scope of the law. Anyway, Joe must defeat an evil terrorist group known as Mad Masks and rescue the hostages that they've taken. And I know this sounds kind of silly and maybe also kind of a little rad, but this is actually a really highly sought after title for the Game Boy Advance, just not when it actually launched. This game got really high scores for a handheld title. It has an 82 on Metacritic. And copies of it have become really rare and really expensive, as you can see here. IGN named this won back in 2003 as the best game of the year that no one played. So it's built a reputation over the years, and lots of folks are going to try to find out if the hype and that price tag is worth it. Especially now that it's available at a much cheaper price point than all those copies online. So Ninja 5.0 is going to be hitting the PS4, PS5, Switch, and PC on February 27th. Alright, and last up we have the Yu-Gi-Oh! Early Days Collection. Now, chances are if you are one of the tens to hundreds of millions of Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans out there, one of them anyway, you're probably already aware of this collection, but just in case you're not, this has got 14 different Yu-Gi-Oh! Games in it that were released between 1998 and 2004. Now, this does only include handheld titles, so these are the titles that were on the Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance, so unfortunately none of those PS2 era games are in this collection. A couple of these titles though were exclusives to Japan previously. So, I almost forgot to mention in this collection, Duel Monsters 4 already has online play, so you can play against other duelists all around the world, and they are going to be in a patch adding in online play to some of these other titles for more online experiences with these games. So yeah, this is going to be dropping on February 27th for the Switch and PC, and it won't shock me that if this does well, we'll probably see another collection of Yu-Gi-Oh! Games coming down the line. Konami seems like they've become actually interested in getting back into games again. Between Ninja 5.0 we mentioned earlier, the Metal Gear Solid remake, and the Metal Gear Solid collections that dropped a year or two ago. This collection, the Silent Hill remake, and the Suikoden series coming back. Seems like Konami is trying to make up for lost time. So they have a great backlog of games, and hopefully for all you Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans, there's going to be more coming down the road. Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and start off with the bad boy of the week, the game that's going to chew up the sales charts for the next week or two and spit them back out. We got Monster Hunter Wilds launching this week. This is probably going to be one of the biggest games of the year. Maybe the biggest if Grand Theft Auto doesn't launch. But yeah, Monster Hunter Wilds is launching. And as we stated in the intro, pretty sure that's the reason it was so hard to find so many games coming out this week. At one point in time, there was like 20 or 30, and they're just all disappeared. So it seems like everyone was just scurrying to get the hell away from Monster Hunter. If you're not familiar with it, Monster Hunter is one of Capcom's pillar franchises. These games are monstrous. And yes, the terrible wordplay was intended. These monstrously large games are just packed to the brim with tons and tons of content. If you're not familiar with it, again, let's bring you up to speed. This one is touted to be a bit heavier on the story than previous titles. They're often pretty story light. In this one, the guild has sent you to the Forbidden Lands to investigate the tales of a young boy named Nata, whose village was destroyed by a mysterious monster. And you'll be tasked with investigating and bringing down this unknown monster known as the White Wraith. So you'll go out and track and slay all sorts of various monsters as your custom-created hunter and your little kitty cat Palico companion, who you can also create. Upon defeat, monsters will drop resources and materials that you will use to craft gear, replenish supplies, or cook some delicious-looking food. In what is one of the most satisfying gameplay loops out there. This game is all about its rewarding gameplay loop. There's 14 different weapon types to choose from, including great swords, bow guns, dual blades, sword and shield, and tons more different weapon types to master here in this game. Pick whichever weapon suits your playstyle, fiddle around with a variety of weapons, whatever works for you to get the job done. The game is going to have a dynamic weather pattern system that will change what kind of monsters are out in the various biomes depending on the weather cycle. The game can be played as a solo experience or with up to 4 other hunters, and crossplay is supported between consoles and PC. This series just packs in a ton of content, and they've already announced the first update for the title will be hitting in spring of this year. They'll be adding in a hunt for the monster Mizutsune, and another planned update sometime this summer. So if you're looking for a new title you can just sink hundreds of hours into, this is definitely an action series you want to take a look at. It's going to be dropping this Friday, the 28th, for the Xbox Series X and S, PS5, and PC. Omega 6: The Triangle Stars is a retro, throwback, 16-bit stylized adventure game. And I know there's a good chance some of you are rolling your eyes. Another retro, throwback title. I feel the same way sometimes. And I was actually alive when the retro stuff was new, but yeah. This one though has a fun little story that we wanted to share with it that made it look interesting to some of us. So this one is being made by Happy Meal, which is a silly name, but we love silly names. It's based on a manga by the artist Takaya Imamura. And you're probably like, well, who the hell is that? Well, Takaya Imamura is a former illustrator, developer, and art director for Nintendo. He, in fact, is the character designer for Captain Falcon from the F-Zero series and much of the cast of the Star Fox series. So if you grew up in the 90s playing Nintendo games, there's a pretty good chance you've seen his art before and his characters. After he left Nintendo, he started working on a science fiction comic series, and it's now being adapted in this cool-looking little game where you play as two androids searching for a new home for humanity. To do this, they'll have to embark on a grand treasure hunt and encounter unique aliens across 3 different worlds and employ turn-based combat based on rock, paper, scissors, or Junkin. It's going to be hitting the Switch and PC on February 28th.
Please don't forget to give us a like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments if you're already diving into any of these games or if you plan to in the future. And from all of us here at Game Conclave, thanks for watching.